All right, today we're going to be doing an install on this 25 and up Ram 3-liter RHO. Quick overview on the kit. The engineers did a great job on this intake, but we were able to come up with a larger diameter air filter, less restriction there, huge air box, large diameter tube. We'll get rid of that factory resonator. Kind of shows you the whole kit. Let's get started. All right, we're going to start by removing the engine cover. There's a 13mm bolt towards the firewall here. We'll remove that. It's usually hot if you've just been driving. That's it. Okay, with that 13mm nut removed, you can remove the engine cover by pulling up. All right, next we're going to loosen this 10mm screw on the back of the intake tube. Okay, we're going to pop this AC line, or this hard coolant line out from the tube. This one's pretty warm, so I'm using a rag. So we disconnect that. Next, we'll remove this harness from the intake tube. Do it with like a panel popper. Got this fancy one. There's also a clip right here. Alright, got all that removed. There's also another clip down here by the MAF sensor. We'll get that one on. Okay, now to disconnect the MAF sensor, there's this little white part right here. I'm going to pull that back and then pull it out. You can kind of see it there. So just press back in here where it kind of meets the harness, and then it'll unlock. Next, we're going to loosen the hose clamp on both ends of the intake tube. Here and here. Now with the hose clamps removed, you can remove the intake tube. Slide off this end first. Okay, next we'll remove the intake box assembly. It's just 4 grommets. You can kind of see them down there. All right, next we're going to remove these clips that hold the coolant line on there. So to do that, if you try to just pop this thing off, it'll probably break. So there's a couple clips on the underside. Since you can get to them, you can kind of pop them up in there. Then they'll come out. You can kind of see how they're, you do the same for the other one here. One side and the other side. All right, next we're going to remove the MAF sensor from the OE kit. This is a T20 Torx. We want to make sure the gasket's still on the sensor. Okay, we're going to start prepping the S&B kit for installation. We'll start by putting these grommets in the air box. There's 4 locations, 4 grommets. There. Okay, now we're going to transfer the MAF into the S&B tube. Take our gasket and mate it up with the MAF mounting plate. We'll just put that both underneath the OE MAF onto the tube. Attach it with the supplied screws. All right, next we're going to insert the straightener tube. So you can see there's a slot to go around the MAF. And this just simply snaps into the tube. Okay, next we're going to install the brackets onto the tube. These hold the coolant line and the wiring harness. So you'll see that when they're both on there, both slotted holes will be next to each other. So we'll take the hardware and bolt these down. All right, next we're going to install the air box. So just be patient. You'll try to look through each one of these grommets. You can see each tip of those prongs. Press it down. Okay, next we're going to install the air filter. This logo will be facing up. So you can see like that. Press the flange down into the air box. Once it's in there, you can kind of pull it through and snap it in. Now on the opposite side, you'll see a notch on this flange. You'll want that notch lined up with this button on the outside of the air box. We're going to loosely install the clamp onto the the coupler onto the two tubes. So everything's kind of loose right now. You'll see the buttons on the tubes. These should all line up and correspond with the one on the air box or on the filter. We can put our clamp on the filter. See, the pins are all lined up. Pull this over. Still piping hot. Tighten the hose clamp at the plenum here. Pull this tube out. Once we know that this is aligned here, we can tighten this hose clamp. Slide a coupler over. Go back through and make sure they're all snug. Okay, we'll install the coolant line clips onto the oblong holes on the brackets. And then for the harness, you're going to want to separate these two tabs a little bit. You kind of slide them down, just be careful. Probably easier to slide this one down. Okay, so we got good spacing on that. Now we can clip these into the bracket as well. Take this coolant line. Again, I'm using a rag because this thing's hot. And that'll clip in there like that. Take our MAF sensor and reconnect it. Our MAF sensor harness. Then we can zip tie this out of the way. Take and zip tie the harness to the rubber portion of this coolant line. You can clip this off if you don't want to look at it. Okay, last step, we can reinstall the engine cover. There's a pin in the back there. Make sure that one goes through the grommet. There's one up front here you can locate it. I can reinstall the nut on the back side. That's it. All right, we just finished the install on this 25 and up Ram 3-liter RHO. Real clean, easy install. If you guys have any questions, give us a call.